fields that I'm really drawn to and where I hope to extend some of my research into is the field of employee happiness and the field more broadly speaking of positive psychology. And this is something that I'm really drawn to and I start all of my classes with. And so positive psychology is relatively new. Like psychology all started out by figuring out what's wrong with people and how can we fix them. And then positive psychology took a different approach and think about, what about all those people who are doing great things and they're really happy and they're doing extremely well? What can we learn from them? And so within that, there's the field of employee happiness that looks at, how can we improve psychological well-being and happiness of employees in the workplace? And I'm really drawn to that. I think it's a really compelling topic for us to sort of investigate, because we know that when employees are happy in the moment, they do better, they perform better, they're more resilient, they're more creative, and all of those great things that we're looking for in the workplace. And so I highlight this topic very much with my students. It's kind of the lens that I start the entire quarter with. It's like, here's what we're targeting. We're targeting employee happiness. And so as a manager, I teach management classes. How do we get there? How can we support that? Broadly, I do research in 3 different areas. One of them is on voluntary turnover. So I'm trying to answer the general question of why do people quit their jobs? The second one is on leadership, sort of more broad questions around what does it mean to be an effective leader? And in particular, I look at some of the emotional dynamics, like what happens to leaders and how do people think about leaders when they express emotions, either positive emotions, maybe negative emotions, what are potential gender differences in the perception of those emotions. And so that's some of the work that I've done. And the third field or the third topic is broadly on attribution theory. And so what my colleagues and I have done is typically we look at when things happen to us, like let's say we get a promotion. We ask the question, why did this happen? And we typically make either an internal attribution, like, oh, it's all because of me. Clearly, I'm knowledgeable and I'm motivated. That's why I got the promotion. Or I might make an external attribution to things outside of me, like, oh, maybe it was just luck, or, maybe my opponent happened to make a mistake the other week and I benefited from that. So that's kind of an external attribution. And my colleagues and I, we added a third kind of attribution, which is what we call a relational attribution, is whenever things happen to us, like a promotion or maybe a failure at work, we might actually look at the relationships we have developed in the workplace and the benefits of those relationships, the potential, barriers within that relationship, and say, that's part of why I'm not doing as well right now. Or it is part of why I got promoted, because I have these great relationships and they support me in what I'm able to do. And so we hope to do some more research on this. It's a brand new topic and really trying to find out what are the potential, hopefully positive benefits of making relational attributions, but maybe there might also be negative consequences. And so we're investigating all of that. So the best part of the Milgard School of Business in my mind are our students. Our students is what draws me to go to work. Our students are why I'm motivated every morning and get up to interact with our students, teach our students, hear from our students, and learn from our students. I'm particularly excited about the diversity of perspectives and experience that our students bring to the classroom. I think it makes it really easy for us to have great conversations and discussions about everything that they have experienced in life that relates to our class. They share stories with each other. So it's very easy, or it's relatively easy, to create a learning community where students learn from each other's work experiences and what they're taking away from this class. And I just love that part of it. It makes my life as an instructor easy, and also a whole lot more fun to draw out those experiences and have students share them with each other. And that's definitely one of my favorite parts about being here at Milgard. So one thing that I highlight in every single one of my classes that I teach is what we call the cognitive or intellectual humility. And so in every single one of my classes, I highlight that as human beings, we are inherently flawed. There are a whole host of things that we can be challenged by subconsciously or consciously. So, like things like we don't remember things very well and very accurately. We are really good at shutting down or not really listening to other people's perspectives when they don't align with ours, those kinds of things. And so I design many of my classes with activities that highlight some of those biases and mistakes, and then we can have some really good discussions about them. And really what our students primarily take away from my classes is that we are all inherently flawed. None of us are perfect. We need to recognize that that's the case. And we need to open our minds to other perspectives and critically think about our own beliefs and opinions and intuitions and so forth. And that it's okay to make mistakes. In fact, we want people to make mistakes because that's how you learn. And that's really, if there's just one thing students take away from my class, it's probably that.